If you've ever watched a hockey game, you've seen one in action. They're officially called ice resurfacers, but in the same way that people call facial tissues Kleenex, everyone just calls them Zambonis. This must truly irk Zamboni competitor Olympia, but Frank J. Zamboni pioneered the ice resurfacing machine himself way back in the 1950s. I wanted to find out who drives these machines for a living, how they got started in that profession, and self-servingly, what do they like to drive? I started my quest in Okotoks, Alberta at the Payson Centennial Arenas, speaking with indoor facility operator Scott Dick.
These are absolutely essential to hockey as we know it. You could quite possibly do it by hand, but it would take you at least a couple hours to do an NHL size rink. Whereas this one can flood an ice surface 200 by 85 in about 12 to 15 minutes.
And chances are, if you drive a Zamboni at a local rink, you do a lot more than just that.
We're in charge of the whole building, from resurfacing the ice to anything mechanical to daily janitorial. When I first started, it took me about 3 months to get proficient with the machine. So when you go out onto the ice, the first thing that you'll do is you'll put your conditioner down, you'll turn your augers on, and you'll bring your board brush out, and then you will turn your water on. So you have to make sure that you do it in a proper order. We cater to the kids a lot, where we're waving at them. You know, they want us to honk the horn or make funny faces. The kids love it, the parents love it. We're here to entertain as well. We're not just here to work. Anything that we can do to make our user groups or the public feel more welcome, we do. This machine cost us about $185,000.
So after learning that this machine is worth as much as 2 Mercedes S-Class luxury sedans, I was a little nervous to drive this 4,000 kilogram beast onto the ice. So what does an ice resurfacer drive like? Not like anything else you can think of. You sit behind the rear wheels and there's a huge hood-looking thing in front of you called a bucket. This adds up to give you pretty bad visibility when negotiating the corners of the rink, but experienced drivers always seem to know exactly where the corners of the machine are. The Olympia I'm driving is full of batteries and motivated by 4 electric motors, 1 for each wheel. Top speed of this one is limited to about 7 kilometers an hour, but that actually feels pretty fast on the ice. Traction is extremely limited, and you can actually feel the back end stepping out around tight turns. Operator Scott Dick says that driving this thing can take some real getting used to.
The first time I thought, oh yeah, it's just gonna be like driving a car, thinking you're gonna breeze through it. But it bites you in the butt really, really quickly. There's a lot of different moving components on this. You have to be aware of what you're doing, where you are, coming on and off the ice. There are certain things that you really have to watch.
Local rinks are essential to hockey. Everyone that goes pro started by playing in a rink much like the one in Okotoks, but I wanted to see how ice resurfacers were used in top-level hockey. And for that, I went to the Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary on game night. Here, the Calgary Flames would face off against the Vancouver Canucks. Hockey at the highest level.
My name is Edward Vyshetsky. I am an ice technician here for the arena. Been here this is my 10th season now. When it comes to the ice and maintaining the ice, we have 4, like myself, and 3 other ice technicians, and running 2 teams out of this building. There's a lot of ice time being used on a daily basis. Essentially, like any 4-wheeled vehicle, yes, it's like driving another vehicle. But as you can see here with the long hood, you can't see in front of you. So you're taking into point your wide spots, your length, when to turn. Speed is another thing. It doesn't go as fast, obviously. 2,500 RPM or top speed on these Zambonis, you'll get about 7.5 miles an hour tops. We're under the fine-tooth comb, so to speak, as to maintaining our ice accordingly, as well as the machines, because Murphy's Law can't prevail. Like they always say, you know, if something's going to go wrong, it's going to be at the worst opportune time.
And when it goes wrong, it can go very wrong. At an NHL game in Pittsburgh in 2008, an ice resurfacer blew a high-pressure hydraulic line and sent red fluid spraying all over the ice. To prevent embarrassing and costly game delays, the Saddledome keeps a backup Zamboni in addition to its 2 regular-use Zambonis.
My favorite part of the job is just driving and doing the ice, whether it's a game or by myself in my own little world and maintaining. So I guess overall I just love all aspects of it.
My name's David Witherspoon. I'm ice technician, they classify us as. I prefer game nights. I mean, during the day it's okay, but during the night you got 20,000 people in the stands, the music's going, everything's just hopping, so it's pretty exciting. I really enjoy that part. Yeah, we got about 230 feet to drive from our flood room to the Zamboni gate. We have to drive down the hallway, we have to go in, you have to dump all the snow out of your bucket, turn the machine around, fill it back up, get it ready to go for the next period. On the back of this one we have a latex laser leveling system. We have fast ice, which is 2 large spray bars that are either simultaneously controlled or independently. So you can either run the top one, the bottom one, or vice versa. With the laser system, it's really good. Even if your floor is uneven on the bottom, it keeps your top surface level. So when you're out there doing a flood with 2 machines, it actually does a little bit of a better job cleaning up in between. The machine itself is easy to drive, but all the underneath, how much to shave off with the blade, how to work the augers, how much water to put down, how fast you have to go.
It's obviously not something you could pick up overnight. How long does it take to take a guy from zero experience to NHL Zamboni driver?
I don't know how some of the other NHL buildings work, but usually here, we usually like to train a guy for about a month or so before they start driving.
One thing that surprised me was that Zamboni operators at any level weren't exactly crazy hockey fans. For the most part, the operators are people who just happen to be working for an arena or municipality and found themselves driving a Zamboni. But more than that, these people really love their jobs. And can you blame them? They get to go out there and be the team that everyone roots for, the Zamboni. For Driving.ca, I'm Clayton Seams.